Greetings everyone, and welcome to the Sonic Issue 268 review. We're starting a new sub-arc in the overall Shattered World saga, and there's definitely a different tone than in previous stories. Take the last issue for example. Sonic was testing his new Werehog form against not only the terrain, but Thunderbolt's flying dynamo. Thanks to his companions, he succeeded. The rest of Sonic's team, however, failed to notice signs of an obvious trap, and it cost them a Chaos Emerald. The situation almost cost them their lives if not for the intervention of left-behind team members. While spirits were down, Sonic returned and cheered them up. They started focusing on the next Chaos Emerald, located within a tournament held by this woman. The story begins with a flashback. We have a younger Sonic in the underground zone caught between the egg antlion and Coconuts in an eggmobile. Coconuts hopes this victory would give him a promotion, but Sonic ruins his dreams. Nearby, Scratch and Grounder have Breezie as their prisoner. Unfortunately for them, they get Sonic's attention and pay the price. With Breezie safe, Sonic's ready to go save Tails, but Breezie is terrified of bandit retribution and Sonic carries her, unaware of her devilish smile. In the present, Sonic finishes the story on how he first met Breezie. Tails clearly remembers that experience, and a jealous Amy asks why this is the first time they heard this story. Sonic replies he hasn't told everyone all about his adventures, especially the ones that made him look like an idiot. While this piqued the curiosity from Sonic's teammates, Sally wants to focus on getting the Chaos Emerald from Breezie's fighting tournament. She tried to register the entire team, but only Sonic, Tails, and Amy were accepted. Sorry guys, Sega Sonic characters only. Rotor does bring up an interesting point. With rumors of Breezie's shady connections, shouldn't they just take the Emerald? Amy and Sally are against the idea because Breezie might be a legitimate businesswoman, and stealing the Emerald, with the right intentions, could put them in a bad light with the public. Plus, Sally already tried bribing Breezie with the Royal Treasury. Not only did this not work, but it got Sally in trouble with dear old daddy. Sonic, Tails, and Amy, given the group name Team Fighters, of course, head for the tournament, while at the same time worrying if Eggman will attack Casino Park. We then see Eggman making threats to Breezie, and we see Breezie doesn't give a crap. She points out that Eggman's forces are spread too thin dealing with the world crisis, and any attack force won't get through her defenses. In addition, we learn here that Eggman offloads his old bandits on her and threatens to stop shipping them. Plus, this line about robots and robot violence. Eggman offers money for the Emerald, but Breezie refuses, stating he doesn't have enough. She explains to Eggman that with the world in pieces, people need a distraction, and she will give a show worthy of their money. Bottom line, Breezie's got guts standing up to Eggman. Anyway, Scratch and Grounder tell Breezie that the roster's been altered to include a new fighter. One look at said alteration, and Breezie decides to keep the change. Oh yeah, Eggman's still on the line, but Breezie's tired of his rants and Coconuts ends the call. Eggman contacts the hooligans to make sure that if things don't go their way in the tournament, sabotage it and steal the Emerald. Nag points out that sabotaging the tournament will cost Eggman, and Eggman begrudgingly agrees. Tired of dealing with money grubbers, he makes one more call. Metal Sonic is in Apatos trying to get Gaia Temple locations out of an old priest. Eggman, however, gives Metal Sonic new orders and coordinates, and it leaves. Back in Casino Park, Team Fighters arrive and are greeted by Breezie. So, Tails built a car solely to travel to Casino Park? I can see it. Sonic and Breezie act very politely despite their past, and she explains the benefits of participating. Free food and gambling chips. Breezie lays down some rules though. First, when the tournament begins, there will be no fighting outside the ring, no helping your buddies in the ring, and don't be late. Fair enough, but Sonic has one rule of his own. He'll only fight during the day. Breezie doesn't agree to this, saying Sonic's prime time material. Sonic starts leaving, stating Tails and Amy can handle the tournament. Realizing losing Sonic means losing audience members, Breezie reluctantly agrees to Sonic's terms. Believe me, lady, you just saved yourself from a very hairy headache. Team Fighters explore the casino until Amy freaks out at the arrival of fashion designer Honey the cat. Seriously, she is founder, designer, and CEO of Honey Brand's clothes and accessories. Amy goes to meet her, and Honey recognizes Amy from the Freedom Fighters. And together, they recite the Honey Brand motto. Sonic's just happy that Amy's fangirling over someone else for a change. So, Amy and Honey are discussing fashion, including Amy wearing something from Honey's old Dreamcaster line. Ha 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 ha! Get it? Sonic asks why Honey's here. As it turns out, she's competing in the tournament for promotional purposes. Tails tells her why they're in the tournament, and Honey agrees that if she wins, she'll give them the Chaos Emerald, provided the Freedom Fighters promote Honey Brands. A small price to pay, but at least the heroes' chance of getting the Emerald have gone up. Nearby, the hooligans spy on Team Fighters. Bean wants to inform Dr. Eggman that they're moving on to Plan B, and wait a minute. Before I continue, I know Bean has a habit of nicknames, but this one for Eggman, Baldy McNosehair. There's something familiar about it. I just can't quite place it.
Hey, where are you going?
To find Baldy McNosehair, of course. I've been looking for you, Baldy McNosehair.
It's probably nothing. Knack stops Bean from calling Eggman, and he explains the doctor will find out anyway. And by then, the tournament will be well underway. They have a reputation to maintain, you know? For now, they're keeping a low profile, but they don't know a certain ninja chameleon's watching them. SBO calls the other Chaotix and informs them about the hooligans and Team Fighter's arrival. He plans to help the latter team, and it is here that we learn that he was the one that rigged the roster so that another friendly face could join the fight. That friendly face is Knuckles the Echidna, who just arrived in Casino Park accompanied by Chip. Talk about mood whiplash. The previous few issues had a sense of darkness, gloom, and despair. To be fair, it was the introduction of the Werehog, and it showcased why Eggman's dangerous. Here we have a fun atmosphere. I like it. It's a nice change of pace.
Time for a change of pace!
Part of the fun atmosphere comes from character interactions and a decent blending of cartoon and game elements for a change. For example, let's look at Sonic's Flashback. Fans would quickly point out that it took place during Sonic 2 for the Game Gear, rescuing Tails, first level's the Underground Zone, and the boss is the Egg Antlion. Oh, I'm sorry. In the game, it's actually called the REG Goku Mecha. During this adaptation, our dear Mr. Flynn decided to add a bit of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog episode, Love Struck Sonic, Breezy's first appearance in any Sonic media. Now I'm curious to see the rest of the game adaptation with Breezy in tow. Some other notable game locations in this comic include a brief look at Apatos. We'll probably see more of it when the Unleashed adaptation truly gets going. The main setting of this comic takes place inside Casino Park from Sonic Heroes, and said park takes place in Empire City from Sonic Unleashed, the HD version. Well, it helps solidify the game locations in Sonic's world at least. So let's talk about Breezie herself. Unlike her cartoon counterpart, she did not turn good and now runs a powerful casino and entertainment empire independent of Eggman. Yes, she did work for him, but at some point she broke away. She uses a bunch of the Doctor's old badniks, including Scratch, Grounder, and Coconuts. And as you can see here, they've been redesigned to closely resemble the game badniks they're based on. Back to Breezie. She definitely has a femme fatale quality to her, and rumors of shady dealings brings her into villain with good publicity territory. And yes, if you've been a fan of the comics for a long time, especially pre-reboot, then you know that the role of a casino-owning mogul with shady business practices once belonged to Mammoth Mogul. But he can't be used anymore thanks to the behind-the-scenes stuff that caused the reboot in the first place. According to Ian Flynn himself, he added Breezie to make up for the fact that a number of characters from the old universe are now unusable. One more thing about Breezie for now is whether or not she's a robot built by Eggman. She was in the cartoon. Right now, I don't know. But this panel might serve as a bit of foreshadowing. The main plot of the story is a semi-adaptation of Sonic the Fighters. All fighters from that game are present, and the funny game did feature Chaos Emeralds as prizes. In fact, Bean and Bark originated from this game. Let's talk about the other character that debuted in the game, Honey the Cat. And boy, she had an interesting history. She was based on a character from the Sega game Fighting Vipers, who who was also named Honey. Sega took the Fighting Vipers game engine to create Sonic the Fighters, and the developers made Honey the Cat as an homage to the Fighting Vipers Honey. Somewhere down the line, Honey was scrapped, but when the game was ported to the Sonic Gems collection, people discovered her nearly completed model and hacked her into the game proper. When the HD version of the game was released in 2012, Honey was finally included in the roster. Her interaction with Amy in the comics could be a reference to the fact that the developers used Amy's game data to create Honey. Plus, you had to move down from Amy's screen to select Honey in the first place. Honey, being a fashion designer, came from her Fighting Vipers counterpart, a nice nod to her origins. Even the brief appearance of the Freedom Fighters had that fun atmosphere, especially with Sally's flashback. Now, Rotor wanted to straight up take the emerald from Breezie. Granted, it's to save the world, but his friends called him out on this act. This wouldn't be the first time this happened. Back in issue 261, Rotor was ready to leave the underwater city problems just to save the world, and Sonic wanted to help their new friends. I like that this establishes a bigger picture personality for Rotor. Will this remain in future issues, or will it quietly drop? Finally, the art sells the fun as we have a new artist, Diana Skelly. And her work reminds me a bit of Jonathan Gray's. The facial expressions alone got me to smile. The overall score for this issue is a 9 out of 10. It's fun, and as always, I appreciate the world building. So next time in the main series, the fight begins. So until then, have a good day, and be safe.